Welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for the September update to the best champions to Awaken and Sig up. Now, I'm going to be using the spreadsheet, the one we do for our monthly tier list, right? The general monthly tier list of myself, the MCoC Illuminati, the spreadsheet wizards, spend all that time putting together every single month. And I will say, I do feel like I've been doing a lot of these videos this month, but I'm going back with the advice of folks on my Discord server and you, the commenters, that you do enjoy hearing these formatted from the different ways. And it is a different way of thinking, right? I did the best 7 stars to rank, the best 6 stars to rank, the best Sig Stone and Awakening, all for the Saga resources, which will help see us over the course of 4 months. And this is just like any champion in the game. So what we're going to do is this tier list or this spreadsheet will be linked in the description, so you can open it up, kind of take a look at it in case you haven't seen the other videos or things like that. And then I will talk about one champion from each of the first 3 categories, kind of giving my thoughts on reasons why I think they're worth talking about. There's something, a little bit of nuance for them in particular, and we'll cover each class because, you know, I do get it. And I really appreciate you all letting me know, hey, about every other month is right for this one as far as the best 7 stars rank, the best 6 stars rank, and Ascend, and 5 stars as well. And then, of course, the best 2 rank and Sig up too. And then I'll probably learn that it's no longer worth making based on the clicks and the likes and that sort of thing and the watch duration. So here we go. When you open up your own tier list, as you're looking through this, you can always look for the champions with the star, right? That means their awakened ability was in consideration for them to achieve the ranking they had, right? When we went through and we gave them all the scores and all the various columns and things like that, we were assuming they were awakened. And then if they have the rocket ship, that means like high Sig is going to add on something that they otherwise couldn't do. We'll talk about that. So it's really important. So the champion we'll talk about in the tier above all is Tigra. She's always the one I point to. There's not a ton of top tier mystics, highest tier mystics that are really asking for the 6 stones. She is like a perfect example of that. You've got her as a 6 star. You want to play Tigra, do that. You're going to get those senses up for a significantly longer period of time, right? Let's move on to the Scorching tier. The champion we're going to talk about, and I just want to point her out, right? Because she has the Awakened ability and the rocket ship. There is White Tiger. Do you need that in order to play her offensively? Really, very much no, right? And I'm hoping I myself can even show that soon. I'm really enjoying White Tiger, but Bitter Steel has shown us that multiple times, did a phenomenal video. Not even Awakened, rank 3, doing tremendous things in Battlegrounds. But if you really want her to have like a little bit of a dual threat, and that's a little bit theory, right? You want to make sure you understand what you're getting there before you use an Awakening Gem and 6 stones. No matter what level it is, those are precious, precious resources. So make sure you understand that there. But I did want to call her out. We do have her with both those emojis. That's why. I think that the higher the Sig goes on her, the more likely she is to be a good dual threat for you with that massive power gain towards the end of the fight. Now, moving on to the super hot tier, the one champion I'm going to call out is Rintrah. And this is a very good example of, you know, he's only available as a 6 star. Those Awakening Gems and those 6 stones are significantly more available right now. If you want to use Rintrah defensively, again, for Battlegrounds defense, I really like the Sig up there, right? Help them get that power gain, all that stuff going. Some people have claimed they do not enjoy using Rintrah nearly as much if the Sig is high. So keep that in mind for yourself. I still think Rintrah's very powerful, the targeted matchups you're wanting to take. And then the last one I'll just point out real quick, because I've been pointing this out a lot, and I know people are coming through in Necropolis. If you're thinking about Wong, I think you at least want him awakened. I don't know if you necessarily need to put 6 stones in. You can see that we don't have the rocket ship there. But Wong is phenomenal in Necropolis. I've loved using Wong in Necropolis. It was an absolute blast. It feels like that's where Wong is made to be used to the highest levels there for Wong. You don't really need the high Sig though, but you do really want the Awakened ability. So that might be something to consider there. Don't know if I'd recommend it for the 7 star though, because 7 star Awakening Gems, incredibly rare. I don't even know if there's a way to awaken Wong. Maybe he was one of the Saga champions. Honestly, at the top of my head, I can't remember at the moment. Let's move on to Mutant. In Mutant, I've actually been putting my Mutant Stones into Onslaught. Now, we're going to talk about another champion, and Onslaught's so good, I do not regret it. And I want to make that abundantly clear. I personally like using Onslaught Sig. It increases his Daunted, I think, up to 33% at a high signature level of 200. That's a significant portion of Onslaught's damage, okay? And I enjoy using Onslaught as a dual threat champion, meaning not only as a champion that I might place on defense in Battlegrounds, but I enjoy using him offensively. Used him to take out a very, very tough rank 3 Attuma the other day, got an exceptionally high score, won me the whole match. It was great. So I like having that ability. Having an Onslaught signature ability, does he need that in order to be good? No, absolutely not. But he's such a powerful champion. And I didn't have a ton of 7-star mutants at the time that I wanted to put 6 stones in. So I've been putting them into Onslaught. I have zero regrets with it, and I will probably continue to do it, even though you're about to hear me talk about something else. Moving on to the Scorching Tier, the one I want to call is Mr. Sinister. And I'm going to start talking about this more and more and more. I may even do a standalone video for it. That's who I'm actually going to use my Saga Awakening gem on. As of right now, we do not know for sure of any other single way to awaken your 7-star Mr. Sinister that a lot of us are going to be getting. Does he need it? Again, no, really not. Like, we've got this, the star there, right? It can be really helpful on defense, can be helpful on offense. Getting those 3, I can't even remember what they're called, but like basically the buffs or the bonuses at the start of the fight, really, really helpful. But I want to make him as powerful as possible. I think he's that good. I think in a few months, once we've had time to play with the 7-star Sinister, he actually may move to the tier above all because he's powerful enough, he's tanky enough with his healing, that sort of thing. And then also so good for Bullseye and other champions as well, fights that we're often taking, that sort of thing. So Sinister is a champion talked about in the Scorching Tier. And even though he's a mutant, and I could have put the mutant 6 stones into Sinister instead of Onslaught, Onslaught's so good, I use Onslaught so much that I have zero regrets, which kind of goes back to the very basic advice of make sure you're going to rank up these champions and play them. Even play them first. Make sure you know exactly what you're doing. These are very unique and rare resources, and you can't get them back, right? And they're definitely ones you could have used for other champions. And sometimes we get a little too casual with how we're going to throw 6 stones and things around. And then the champion in the super art we'll talk about is a 6-star that's still very relevant right there in Iceman. The higher that sig up, you get that initial damage going, can be good for dual threats, but also help you out as far as like handling evade and things like that. Really strong champion, not available as a 7-star, great champion to ascend. Really good example of a 6-star champion that makes a lot of sense to awaken and put your 6 stones in. Let's go ahead and move on to science. Moving on to science, the one champion I think definitely call out in the tier above all is Photon. Silk has a nice initial awakening ability with the slow and things like that. So do Hulk, Scorpion, Titania. They're all great. Don't get me wrong. You've seen me very happy to awaken and get more signature levels on these champions from pulling them. But the one to point out is Photon. And there's a couple of reasons. One is her awakening ability just gives her the whole new ability of being immune to neutralize effects. It's really nice when using her offensively. But then the escalating sig is very powerful for her defensively. For every debuff on the opponent, their block position is reduced all the way up to potentially like 900. I think that's a 7-star rank 5 and things like that. But anyone who's fought a Photon and allowed her or been stuck with her just bashing onto your block knows how much damage you're taking. So if you wanted to use her as a defensive option for your Battlegrounds deck and things like that, which a lot of people do, she's good enough offensively that you're ranking her up for that. And then whether you want to be super competitive in Battlegrounds or just kind of play it, she really does make a ton of sense. It's why you'll still sometimes see, even in high tier Battlegrounds, you'll see a rank 5 ascended Sig 200 Photon instead of a lower Sig 7-star. It just depends on how your opponent has decided to put the resources in, but she makes a ton of sense. She's currently getting my 7-star Science Sig stones. Moving on to the next one there, we can talk about Red Guardian, only available as a 6-star right now. So a really nice use of the Awakened ability and the signature ability. The signature ability, not as important as it was before the nerf, but he was nowhere near as good of a champion before the buff. He was nowhere near as good of a champion before the buff. So someone to potentially consider for your 6-star stones. Void makes the damage better, gets going better, great, phenomenal champion, really stood the test of time. So if you like Void, you enjoy what Void's doing, definitely makes some sense to even consider your 7-star stones there. If that's what you're wanting to do already. Then the one in the super hot tier to really call out, especially because of how unique they are in the 7-star class, and then how powerful they still are as a 6-star, is Spider-Man 2099, really helping those ruptures. I think the terms like not explode or whatever the term is, really can help his damage going significantly faster. And in the fights that you want to use him, like I remember using him in War, often take Penny Parkers on these really difficult nodes and just hitting into her block and things like that. It was an absolute blast, a lot of fun. If he had not been Sig 200, those fights would have been exponentially more difficult because the longer the fight went on, the more likely there was a chance for something to have gone horribly, horribly wrong. So if you're ranking up your 6-star, I think he makes a lot of sense in this tier. And if you've taken up that 7-star and if you awaken that 7-star or you want to awaken or you start ranking up that 7-star, might be a champion to consider if you don't have these other options that we've called out or they're just not your thing. Let's go ahead and move on to tech. Tech for me, there's a lot of great options, don't get me wrong, but when I was looking for a champion each column to call out, very, very simple, very easy, very quick, very efficient here. Future Ant-Man, just take a look at a signature ability. Not only does it allow him to take some fights, otherwise might not, with that bleed and the incendiary effect suffering the massive duration decrease. But then there's the healing that comes into it. His own version of kind of like a protection significantly helps him out as far as like a dual threat champion. Only available as a 6-star right now, not available as a 7. One of the best ascension candidates. So for me, this is one of those, like, you've probably heard me talk about him a lot in videos the last month, and that is why phenomenal champion for your investments in your 6-star resources, that sort of thing. Moving on to the next tier, again, talking about phenomenal champions for 6-star resources. Maybe if you champion's not your thing, you don't have one, Ghost is a great one. Get her Awakened, get her that super high sig, get your power going, place into her loop exceptionally well. It's part of why she can be so absolutely dominant in fights. And then the other one is Spider-Man Stark Enhanced. I know I said only talk about 2 in each one, but I have to talk about this because a lot of my constant viewers, a lot of my most loyal viewers will know I said that I would take Masacre from the CCB challenges if I ever got that done. And my opinion about Masacre has not changed at all. The champion, in my opinion, has evolved on is Spider-Man Stark Enhanced. We're seeing the 7-star rank 3s. Campo's doing so many wonderful things with with his Spider-Man Stark Enhanced. Just seeing it all over the place. If I were to do the CCB challenges, which I don't know if I'm going to do due to time and all those things, I would actually now pick Spider-Man, and I would pick him twice because I would want him Awakened, and I would want the signature level to get going because he's at least in the conversation for the best pure Battlegrounds attackers out there. A good quester too, not like he can't be used there in war and things like that, but really shines. I think Campo, or it was Bitter Steel, one of the two of them, came up with the term the other day during a VBC match of like, feels like they were built for Battlegrounds before the mode never even existed. And then the one champion we'll talk about, in Super Hot, interesting again that we're still sticking with the 6-star theme, but Viv Vision, a phenomenal option for getting the signature level, not only Awakened, but it was high as possible. It feels very much like her loop, her damage loop was built on that. So if she were to somehow come out as a 7-star before we update this video again, and if you really like Viv, maybe someone to consider. My main advice though is as a 6-star, she's very enjoyable. People can pull off great things with her. Could be a really good option for your Awakening gem and your signature stones. All right, let's go ahead and move on to skill. Skill's a unique one. They just feel so unique in the game right now when it comes to deciding the 6-stars, 7-stars, rank up resources, signature. And I'll explain why, or just kind of look at it here as another example of their top tier champions just don't exist as 7-stars. Starting to be curious about when they're coming, and I'll put out a video on that later this week. But if you have not done Necropolis, Kate Bishop, get her Awakened, get her sigged up, have a great time. She's a phenomenal champion, really punches up exceptionally well because of the damage on her Cold Snap is just so incredibly good. It's going to help you with the pauses. It's going to help you with the potency of your trick arrows. Kate, really a phenomenal champion on Awaken, even better Awaken, and then just exponentially better as that sig gets going. Fear and Kingpin are also good options too, though, so don't think I'm putting them down at all. There's just who I'm calling out as I see it, ones I wanted to make sure I talk about. Crossbones is a 7-star, is actually who I've been putting my signature stones in my skill one. Helps him with that shrug off, which for me is allowing him to take other fights. Like I did the video not too long ago showing him taking hazard shift fights. Now, at some point, I was relying on his ability to turn off the ability accuracy to not even get the hazard shift debuffs on because my Crossbones, I think, is still like a Sig 80 or something in that realm. So we're not even up to with the signature 200 ability of 90% chance to just shrug off these debuffs. But that is incredibly powerful. And he's a great source for your Sig Stones. I don't see him falling out of the meta at all. I have zero, and I mean it, zero regrets about putting Sig Stones into my Crossbones, even though I still haven't kept it rank 2. He's just been that good for me. He's been that effective for me. And it's allowing me to take time to learn to play him better and just really enjoy that. I will eventually take him to rank 3. Not having rank 3 has nothing to do with where I value him. In fact, he's the one that if this was just purely my tier list, if it was only my point, he would actually be in the tier above all. But one of the best things about this tier list is it's not just my opinion. All of the Illuminati, the spreadsheet wizards, everyone's experience, and they're the ones who keep saying like, Vega, you know, these columns where you want to give him a few more points. I think you just enjoy him so much. So Crossbones, phenomenal champion. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. I feel comfortable putting my 7-star 6 stones into him right now, even though I haven't even taken him to rank 3 yet. The one we're talking about in Super Hot, this is another champion that if I wasn't putting my stones into Crossbones, I would be putting them into Attuma. I actually just took Attuma to rank 3 at only Sig 20, and he has been winning me Battlegrounds matchups. He has been winning them. Yeah, I do have to like strategize and have to play well offensively and all that stuff, but his ability to get that concussion and then get damage back on an opponent is just decreasing their score just by virtue of that. If they don't have a natural counter like Negasonic Teenage Warhead or Novas or something like that, and even Nova, you got to know how to play Nova very, very well. Attuma's going to take health off, and then if someone does even make a mistake against Attuma, he's going to hurt him, and he's going to hurt him bad. So not only are they getting all this chip damage from just hitting him the thorns-ish sort of damage back, but he can do significant damage should anyone make a mistake. So if you're looking for a defensive-oriented champion who can be used offensively, I do plan to eventually one day get out an attacking Attuma video because he is very good, particularly in long form. Attuma could be an excellent, excellent option for you. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to, and I'm going to remember him this time, our final class in Cosmic. Okay, that's it for the video. No, just kidding. Some of you who saw the best, I think it was the best 6 stars to rank up. I apologize for that. Just obviously my error. And that is a good chance to remind everyone, if you see me make an error like that, I will always look to go and update it in the pinned comment, right? A lot of people will have already watched the video by the time I'm aware I've made a mistake. And so to take it down and then make it again, I don't know. It just feels odd to me. It feels like almost like trying to get like double views for something I made a horrible mistake on. I'd often rather do like what I did with the Count Nefaria video where I just took it down. I took it private. I don't want this existing out there. The information was incorrect. And then I'll redo the video as opposed to something where I'm just like updating the video. I'll always do it in the pinned comment. Want to get information out. The whole point of this is just to learn and get better at the game together. And tier above all, you know, I wouldn't put the signature stones into Cosmic Ghost Rider. The champion does so much damage and the signature ability damage is just so low, but the initial awakening is phenomenal, right? Absolutely phenomenal. Like, if you came to me and said, hey, which 6-star, I have a 6-star Cosmic Awakening gem, and I have Hulkling, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and Hercules, I would say, like, honestly, Hercules probably will save you the most items over time. Cosmic Ghost Rider is going to get a lot of bang for his buck out of it, though, and you might want to consider it, and I kind of enjoy playing CGR more, so that's kind of where I would go with that. Herc, though, if you're going to take him to 6200, get the immortality going as long as possible, and Hulkling's a phenomenal, phenomenal option for. I was on Hulkling very early. I was in the CCP, so I was able to test him, went out and made sure I got him because he was that good, and I was like, no, the signature ability is also really helpful. I think it's to getting the Furies going and keeping them going, which is a nice part of his damage, right? Especially now that we have Strikers, you're unblockable, use your Striker as unblockable, and you've got those massive Furies helping you out for even more damage along the way. The one I'll call out in Scorching tier is, I want to talk quickly about Knull and Serpent. You know me, I struggle to keep to just one per column. Knull, gonna help you get those initial debuffs. I can't think what they're called right now. I think it's called Living Abyss debuffs. The more you've got, the better, right? You get those armor breaks going. It helps him get into his ramp just significantly faster. Additionally, Battlegrounds, it is an important mode. It's not all I consider, definitely not, but it's something that's in the game. To ignore, I think it would be foolish as far as me giving rank out advice. Makes him a better dual threat because he's going to be able to put all those debuffs on immediately. You spec into Inequity, and now your defender's not hitting nearly as hard. They've got all these debuffs on. Their attack value is decreased. So it makes him better offensively and defensively. Great option for 6 stones. Yes, I'm including the 7-star there as well. And then Serpent. If you're ranking up Serpent for defensive value, you want him as high a Sig as possible. We'll continue to talk about Serpent probably for years. So we're not going to belabor the point right now. But I'm using my 6-star rank 5 Sig 200 Ascended Serpent over my 7-star who's not even awakened. As he gets awakened, I don't know what the break-even point is going to be for me, but I will take my time getting him to rank 3 because my 6-star is fulfilling all my Battlegrounds needs right now. And just so you know, in case you're not too familiar with my channel, I'm currently in Mysterium 1. So if I'm in the top 400 players right now, I'm feeling very good. It's rank star. Rank 5, Sig 200. You guys know what I'm saying. Maxed out 6-star Serpents are doing just fine in Mysterium 1, 2, and 3, where I have been playing this season. And then the last one we'll talk about here in the super hot tier is Nova. Actually, there's quite a few on Dimension, but I see how long the video is taking. I don't like these videos taking too long, and I will go back and try to leave timestamp. Nova, it is a massive part of his damage, right? Trappy's been showing that very, very well, and I think even did a video referring to the difference between the Fury buffs and then also the distance with which Nova is traveling. Yes, the distance with Nova actually travels on the screen does make a big difference. I enjoy playing Nova too. I have a rank 5 Ascended, maxed out 6-star Nova, but I would like to eventually pull the 7-star, get that signature level going, and would be someone that honestly, if I was to get him awakened, I would consider putting 6 zones in, because I think he's a fantastic dual threat champion for Battlegrounds, and I'd be very interested in using him there. If it's your 6-star, just throw them in there, have a good time for Battlegrounds usage. That's it. And then obviously Angela, I think it'd be a mistake to not at least call her out in this video in particular. Signature ability is phenomenal for her. So many people doing great things with their 7-star. Angela, not at SIG 200. They're just being really smart about how they're using her and things like that. That's it for the best champions to awaken and SIG up. Like I said, I'm going to kind of monitor how these videos do. You all are the ones who advise me to do them every other month, including, obviously, we still do the monthly tier list every month. I think it's just felt like a lot of these videos because the sagas came out this month as well. As usual, let me know what you think I got right. Let me know what you think you got wrong or I got wrong. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.